We're going to be doing a kidney and urinary meridian lines today. So we're working a lot of fear. I just thought it'd be a nice one to work with because it feels still quite heavy in the air. A lot of anxiety, fear, uncertainty. We're all going through massive life changes potentially with work. Maybe if we're like I was living abroad, changing into different countries potentially, or lack of moving through different countries. Just big changes in our individual processes and where we're at in our own spiritual journeys. So I really feel like this is one that I would like to keep working on for the next couple of weeks, heart and kidney. So I think these two organs are getting quite a lot of I wouldn't want to say attack, but they're being tested at the moment. So we want to keep the heart space open like we did last week, but we also want to keep the energy flowing really nicely through the kidneys, and we want to keep supporting our kidneys because they're going to be working a little bit harder if we're in stress. So although we're at home, we're safe in our home spaces, we're also dealing with everything that's going on globally, everything that's going on around us, and that can be quite taxing for the parasympathetic nervous system and also for the kidneys. So we're going to start with a meditation just to connect into the kidney. And if you're not sure of where they are, if you bend your hand and bring your hand behind your back, just where your hands are, that's where they'll be. So comfortably when you rest your hands behind your back, your kidneys are in those two sides of your back, kind of mid-back, just underneath the floating ribs or toward the bottom of the rib cage. So if you start to close down through the eyes, and we can just bring the hands to rest on the knees. If it feels comfortable to sit cross-legged, you can sit here, or you might want to sit on bricks and sit on your shins, whatever feels most comfortable. Or you can even take the legs out long and sit onto a brick if you want to lift your hips up a little bit higher. I'm just sitting on a blanket. So if we again start to close down through the eyes and just allow our energy, our awareness to draw internally. And just start to take a few breaths in to the space that you're in. Sighing the breath out, either through the nose or mouth. Just allowing yourself to release any tension from the day, from the mind, from the physical body. And taking up the space within the room that you're in. Noticing how much space you're taking up on your mat. Noticing how your body feels as you come into awareness of yourself. And quite often when we're in stress, the body will tense. So just taking a quick scan through the body, you can work from the head down or the feet up. And start to tune in, notice if there's any areas that do feel particularly tight or tense or restricted as you're breathing. And see if we can really soften into those areas. So although we're keeping a nice long spine, open chest, open hips, we're feeling soft, relaxed in the muscles, feeling good alignment through the back of the body. And a gentle energy pulling up from the crown, lifting you up. And a gentle sinking down, heaviness into the sit bones as you feel yourself roots into the earth. Feeling protected and safe in the space that you're in. Just a couple more rounds of breath, breathing in lightness, letting go of stress, tension as we exhale the breath out. And slowly start to transfer the awareness into the back body, into the kidneys. And just taking a few rounds of breath in here, visualizing light flooding into the kidneys as you inhale, so a golden white light flooding in. And as you exhale, you're feeling any toxins, any heaviness, any fear moving out of the kidneys so they feel refreshed, rejuvenated, and balanced. Just bringing our awareness into this space, allowing our body to come into contact with our kidneys, our kidney meridian, this system of the body, and all the emotions that align with this kidney, this organ. And just paying attention, clear observation of what's going on in this area of the body. Noticing if there's any tension here, if there's any emotions that are stuck or residing in this area. Any sensations arising from this space. Let's just taking our last round of breath here, connecting into this space, awakening the kidneys. So when we're in stress mode, the body starts to tax the kidneys and it uses the Jing energy, which is our vital life force or Qi, which is known in Chinese medicine. And we want to bring the breath rate down to a nice slow pace and even pace. So we're going to work through equal balance in breath. So it depends on you how many counts you want to take in and out, but I would suggest counting to 4, and I'll guide you through for a few rounds. So this equal breathing allows the body to shift into the parasympathetic nervous system rather than the sympathetic nervous system. So we start to move into rest, digest, and the kidneys aren't using so much to help boost and energize the body. This gives a nice balance to the body. So if we just take an exhale to clear, and we'll inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, slight pause, and then we exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, slight pause, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that pace going in your own mind. If that's a little bit too fast or a little bit too long for you, just allowing the breath to regulate to a pace that's even and equal and feels good for you, so it can go higher or lower in numbers. You want to really allow the belly to expand, breathe all the way down into the lower belly and feel the back of the body inflating. So we're allowing the whole torso to open with our inhale, and you feel the navel pull back to the spine, chest deflating. Nice slow and steady breath in, breath out. So as we drop into awareness of our even, equal breath, we're allowing the mind to just rest on its one point, taking away any mental stimulation, any thoughts going around in the mind. Give the body a little break in the nervous system. We start to drop into the present moment awareness. Just allowing the body to take its time to come back into an even rhythm, an even flow. And when we start to regulate the system, the breathing, respiratory system, Also allowing all the other flows and rhythms in the body to start to come into a nice balanced, even and calm space and flow. I'm just going to stay here for about another minute, just taking your time at your pace, nice and even and equal. Noticing the effects the breathing is having on the body, on the mind. Just taking the last 3 rounds. And taking your final round of breath here. Just take your time. Allowing the practice to release. You can bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the lower belly, setting an intention for our practice today. I'd like to invite you to just bring a short positive statement to your mind, something that allows you to step into a feeling of courage, of clarity and of calmness. Something very short, something that means something to you, maybe something that you're working through. For example, I stand in my truth, harmonized, balanced, calm. Whatever resonates with you, just say it in your mind 3 times and really feel it in your heart, feel it in your belly, feel it in your body. Nice. Just releasing intention. You can slowly start to bring your hands down, flipping open the eyes. Move into our first shape. So we're going to come into butterfly. So if you just turn on your mat, you can take the soles of the feet towards each other and the knees are apart. So my knees lift up. So I quite like to use bricks or cushions just on the side of my hips, so I have something to push into and support my legs. You might want to use higher bricks, or you might want to use your bolster or a pillow. And we're allowing the knees to go nice and wide. You can start to shuffle the feet in as close as feels comfortable. We're working to press into the K1 point, kidney 1 point. So if you find the ball of your foot, so both balls of the feet, and then there's a little dip in the middle and slightly below the big mound, toe mound, right almost in the center of the top third of your foot. So we want to press into these points with our thumbs. If you just have a press around, you'll feel a point that's got a little dip. It's just underneath the knuckles of the feet. So it's pretty much here on your foot. If you're not too sure, just keep pressing around and you'll feel a little tender point and you want to stay in that point. It feels a little bit uncomfortable to stay there, but that's what we want, that sensation. And then we can press, and you might want to do pulsing presses so that you're gently activating, especially if you have really tender feet or if you've got anything going on in the foot. You can just start to gently awaken this point here. If it's too much, you can always stop. So from here, we're awakening the kidney meridian line. And just signaling to the body, we're opening up this channel, we're working in this body part. I'm also starting to invite more flow and chi to come into the kidney meridian line by pressing onto this point. And what that does is allows a little bit more energy and vitality to come through, to flow through the kidneys, and it helps also for any blockages in that line as we're stimulating that energy circuit. So if you feel good to keep pressing, you can hold and press, maybe pressing firmly without the pulsing if you were before. We're going to be here for another 3 minutes or so, so if it feels too strong to keep pressing, you can always release. So the kidney meridian is paired with the urinary bladder meridian line, and the kidney is the yin and the yang pair is the urinary bladder. So the kidney meridian travels up from the big toe, the little toe, and it travels through this point that you're pressing on with the sole of the foot, travels up the inner side of the arch of your foot, the inner ankle, traveling up the inner leg line all the way to the groin.
On behalf of our center and our partners, the World Economic Forum and the Bill of
And then once it's reached through the groin, it comes up through an internal branch, running through the middle of the torso, cutting through the kidneys, and it runs all the way up through the throat, ending at the inner eyes. And then the urinary bladder starts at the top of the eyebrows, traveling up the top of the head. 2 branches run down the back of the head, either side of the spine, all the way down the back of the body, through the pelvis, and down the backs of the legs, all the way down again into the baby toe. So if it feels good, you can start to roll a little bit further into the stretch, maybe dropping chin to chest, allowing the head to drop down. And then we're starting to open up those channels in the back of the body. Just here for a last minute. Just taking our last 2 rounds of breath here. Take your time. Slowly preparing your body to come out of the shape. You can release the feet, maybe wiggle through the toes. You can move any props out to the side and use your hands to gently bring your knees back up to center. You're going to take the feet flat to the floor. Just take a lean back into the hands, and then we can take some knee sway side to side, just releasing the hips, allowing the body to come back into a nice balance. Nice. So just taking a couple more of those if that feels good, and then we can start to make our way over onto all fours. Just a little bit of movement into the legs. If you want to stretch the legs out, it might feel nice to tuck the toe under and push back into the legs. And then when you're ready, we can start to come through some cat-cow movements. So as we inhale, we're going to let the tailbone lift, the belly and the heart drop toward the floor, and take the gaze all the way up, stretching each end of the spine. And as we exhale, we can tuck the tailbone under, chin comes toward the chest, and really round and arch through the spine, opening up the back lines of this meridian. As we inhale, opening the front lines of the body, stretching. We exhale, rounding, moving into the kidneys themselves, creating a bit more space and a compression as we open the front body. So just move at your own pace with your breath. We're just going to be here for about a minute and a half. Feeling a nice ripple and a wave-like motion coming through your spine. It might feel nice to even really slow down the movement, slow down the breath. Really feeling into the sensations in the back of the body. Seeing if we can make a little bit more space around the kidneys. We're here just for a few more rounds. Now just taking your last full round of cat-cows. Before we make our way into our next pose, we're going to take a child's pose. So we can start to bring the sit bones back toward the heels. You might want to use a bolster or a pillow in between the knees so that you can take that and rest onto forehead or side of the head. You can rest down and maybe stretch the arms out, or you can rest the arms down. So we're working to stretch the spine and open up here. So if it feels good for you to use no bolster, you can also work with forehead to the floor or a brick. If it feels nice to create a deeper stretch in the spine. So just coming into the shape. If your knees, it feels too much on the knees, you can always get a blanket and take the blanket underneath the thighs. Just rest it right into the back of the knee, and then it gives you a nice bit of space in the knee joint. That might help if anyone's feeling uncomfortable here. Or you can always take the stretch to come onto your back, knees to chest. So just here for 2 minutes. It might feel nice to take some wriggles side to side. It might feel nice to try working to tuck the tailbone under a little bit more so you feel more of a rounding in the spine. Maybe seeing what it feels like to relax the abdomen or gently tense the abdomen and see if you can elongate the spine a little bit more and then relax again. So whilst you're here, seeing if you can send the energy of your breath to come into that kidney space. Again, bringing lightness into the body or flooding the kidneys with a light energy, white or golden. Visualize the kidneys filling up, revitalizing, rejuvenating every inhale. And as we exhale, releasing any toxins, any heaviness, any fear from the kidneys. allowing our vitality to return, sense of balance, come back into the body. Just here for another 30 seconds. From here, you can slowly start to pad yourself back. We're going to come straight into our next shape, which is going to be Sphinx. Just moving anything out of the way unless it feels comfortable to bring a rolled up blanket underneath the chest, just to give you a nice lift. You want to feel a nice length in the hip bones. Just allowing yourself to slowly come forward. If Sphinx feels a little bit uncomfortable to have the arms here, you can always take the elbows a little bit further forward, and then this gives you a bit more of a softer curve in the back. You can always rest your head into your hands or rest your chin to your hands. If that's still too much, you can stack your forearms and rest your forehead down. You're still getting a nice curve into the back, but it's just not as strong. So find any position that feels good for you. Can also bring the hands beside the chest, just coming into a very, very gentle cobra. We're going to be here for 5 minutes, so make sure you feel comfortable and set up. We're working to compress into the kidneys now, so we want to feel an elongation from the tailbone up to the crown of your head, but also as we're coming into a back bend, we're going to feel a nice compression into the kidneys. So we're squeezing all the blood out of the kidneys, we're squeezing the organ, we're allowing it to compress, and then as we come out of the shape in a few minutes time, we'll feel a nice flush of blood coming straight back into the kidneys. Helps to revitalize the physical organ. So the kidney and urinary bladder meridian lines work with the element of water. And in Chinese medicine, the physical and the mental are totally intertwined. And for an optimal health, we want to balance a person's qi or qi, as it's known, your vital life force energy, which is your yin and yang pairs. Your yin is your kidney, your yang, your urinary bladder. You also want to work to balance the fire, water, earth, wood, and metal elements that Chinese medicine works through. And this week, we're working through the fluids of the body, the water element of the body. This is why the kidney is connected to healthy transitions through each of life's stages, and being in a state of flow, in a state of flow with life, flow of choices, allowing ourselves to move as life moves us. And the emotion that we feel when the kidney meridian line is out of balance is fear. So fear paralyzes us, and this equals not being in flow. This could be from not trusting, not allowing. It could be feeling stuck where we are and not feeling the courage to be able to make choices. So sometimes it starts with a physical, or sometimes it starts with the mental. And if we don't allow the body to come into flow, whether that's physically or mentally, for our life situations, for our physical body, then we can start to see kidney issues arising. then it becomes more chronic. We're just over halfway. Just another 2.5 minutes. If you need to change the shape, you might want to come up a little bit higher into seal. If that feels comfortable on your back, make sure the hips are relaxed, the glutes are relaxed, and you're not tweaking the spine, you're just compressing a little bit deeper into the upper back, but that's just an option. You can always come lower down if it's too much. So ways that we can tell if the kidney meridian is feeling a little bit deficient or imbalanced, we're feeling fearful or weak, we're lacking in willpower, feeling insecure, maybe feeling a little aloof or isolated. That's the emotional side. And imbalances in the physical aspect would be irregularities with urination, poor short-term memory, night sweats, dry mouth, ringing in the ears, lower back pain, chronic anxiety, hair loss, and also premature grey hair. This is because the kidneys are the organs for sustaining our life. They're the organs for growth, development, and maturation. And they're also connected with the bones, the teeth, the ears, the head hair. And the fluids in the body are tears, sweat, lubrication of the joints, and our saliva. Well done, guys. We're just here for the last 3 rounds of breath. Just taking the time to slowly come down into Sphinx if you're in seal. And then we can slowly start to pad ourselves down, either making a pillow with the hands, or if it feels nice, relax the shoulders, you can bring the hands down beside the hip and just turn the face to the side. Coming into a rebound, we allow the body to relax. It might feel nice to bend at the knees and just sway the feet side to side to release any tension in the lower back. It might feel nice to just give the hips a wiggle. Just taking the last breath here. And then we can come back either into all fours and just take some movement through the spine, or you can come all the way back into child's pose. We're just taking a minute here. Taking any movements that feel nice. You might feel just good to stay paused, stay still. Just breathe in here for another few rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, you can slowly start to come up. Noticing any shifts or changes. We can take the legs out in front of us and come to the middle of the mat. So we're coming into a supported bridge. If you have bricks and they've not been chewed by the cats, then you can use the bricks underneath your pelvis. We want to have them just where the sacrum is, along the very, very lower part of our spine. So you can either use them like that, or you can just use a bolster or a pillow. We want to come to lay down onto the back. Feet come flat to the floor, hip width apart. We're going to slide the bricks underneath the flat of the sacrum. And then we can just let the arms either come out to the side, or we can have the arms up overhead if that feels nice. Coming into a supported bridge. So if any variation is too high or too strong, just modify it so that you feel comfortable in where you're at. You could also use a rolled up blanket if that feels more supportive for today. So just something a little bit thicker and off the floor. Or if you feel comfortable to use no support, you can also just stay in a bridge without anything underneath the hips. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. So just find what feels good. So this one, we're allowing an inversion. So we're just letting the chi flow down the body. So we're slowly working to flush through the kidneys, flush down the body, and allow what is naturally an energizing downward, allowing the reversal to come through. So it just lets the heart relax a little bit more as well. And we also get a flush of energy, of blood flow through the kidneys again. And we're also going to get a nice stretch across the shoulders, across the neck. We want to feel an elongation through the spine, all the way up to the crown of the head, so a nice long spine. We're just here for the last few rounds of breath, and then we're going to move into either legs up the wall, or it will be just taking the legs straight up where you are. If you're on 2 bricks, you might want to take it down to just 1 brick. And you can take the legs just straight up. So we're allowing a little bit of a more stronger flow of chi, migration of blood down the legs, to flush through the kidneys. It's a really, really nice one to induce sleep as well. Gives the legs a good rest. And it's also gently stretching the urinary bladder meridian lines down the backs of the legs. So when you're ready, you can start to come into the next shape. If it feels more comfortable for you to use a wall space, just take yourself up to the wall so your sit bones are against the wall, and then you can swing your legs round and take them straight up. And the closer you are to the wall, the more strong of a stretch you're going to get up the backs of the legs. And the further the hips are away from the wall, the less of the stretch. So if it feels good to use a wall, you can also come over there. I'm going to be here for about 3 minutes again. If it feels nice to just let them float, you can just stay here. Allowing your breath to come into a nice slow, even rhythm. Very natural, not forced. Suggesting to your body to come into a deeper state of rest, relaxation. Allowing your breath to nourish all of the cells in your body, to bring new life, new energy in. Allowing the breath to not only revitalize the body, but also the mind. Coming into a really calm, protected space. Just let your breath feel like tides flowing in, gently coming out. Fresh waves, relaxation, vitality. Just coming for our last minute. If it feels nice, you can flex and point the feet, just stretching a little bit more into the physical lines from the feet, the baby toes, soles of the foot, inner arch, outer arch, ankles, down the backs of the legs, the insides of the legs, down into the groin, down into the backs of the hamstrings. Now just taking our last 3 rounds of breath, preparing ourselves to move. If you've come over to a wall space, you can just allow your feet to slowly slide down the wall, and then you can come to roll onto your side. And if you've got legs straight up into the air and you're supported, you can gently bring your knees into the chest, hug them in, and then bring your feet flat to the floor, to your mat. Move the hips up to the sky, slowly pushing anything out from underneath the hips, and gently letting yourself come down flat to the mat. You can pause here, just notice how the body feels. And if you come over to the wall, you can slowly start making your way back. Just take a little bit of space. You can keep your mat by the wall if that feels good. Just make sure you've got enough space for your legs. And then we're going to take some knee sways, windshield wiper the legs side to side. Just massaging out the sacrum, the lower back, getting a bit of a twist going into the spine. And feeling a nice stretch come through the groin. So we're going to move into our next shape, which will be a twist. If it feels good for you, you can just keep your feet flat to the mat and let your knees drop to one side. This is the most gentle variation. Or if you'd like to work a little bit deeper, we can bring the knees into the chest, hug the knees in, and then we can slowly allow the knees to drop over to the right side. The knees are going to stack. If you've got a gap between the knees, you might want to use a pillow or a brick in between the knees just to support. And the closer the knees in towards the body, the more higher up the twist is going to be. So we want to try to target right in the center of the back, the mid towards upper back. If that's too strong, just let the knees go away. Or you can take your underneath leg out long and just hold on to the top leg, maybe support it with a pillow. Take whichever variation feels good. You want to try get the left shoulder blade down to the floor. If it doesn't reach the floor, grab something to put underneath to support that left shoulder. And then if it feels nice, you can either spread that left arm out to the side, or you can take the hand and rest it up by your head so the arm's out long. This just invites a little bit more flow into the lungs, stimulating the lung chi. And if you want to bring the stretch up into the neck to follow that to follow the urinary and bladder meridian line, you can turn the gaze to look over your left shoulder. So again, we're working to twist through the kidneys. Allowing the blood to be wrung out, any toxins to be squeezed through, helping the organ in a physical level. I want to send the breath again into that space, into the back of the body. And maybe as you exhale, you can find a deeper softening and surrender, allowing a little bit more of a twist to come into the body. Just becoming aware of how the mind is at the moment. Where are you focusing your thoughts? Can you draw your attention back to the simple awareness of your breath? Become the observer of what is arising in the body, in different sensations. Become aware of what is arising in the mind. Allowing ourselves to try find some detachment, some space. And in that space, we feel that calmness, that peace. Find that glimpse into the soul. We're just taking another few rounds of breath here. Preparing ourselves to come back to the center. We can start by taking the gaze back to the center, looking toward the ceiling, relaxing the left arm down beside the hip. You can start to gently move any props out to the side. Take your time to roll onto your back. Realign the spine. We're going to bring the knees into the chest here. Just squeeze the knees in, lift up the lower spine, and then relax back down. We're going to roll up, and as we roll up, bringing the nose toward the knees, we're going to do a out through the mouth, a nice slow, long breath out, exhaling all the breath out. So take an inhale here, Relax the shoulders as we exhale, squeeze, lift up. Inhale, roll down. 2 more times. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, last time, rolling down. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, gently rolling down to the mat. And come over onto the opposite side. So if you use any props, just taking them over with you. And then we can just shift the hips a little bit over to the opposite side of the mat. And then take the stretch over to the left side. So if it feels good for you to use the knees close in toward the body to get the stretch around the higher part of the back, that's perfect. If not, take whichever variation feels more comfortable for you on this side. Getting that right shoulder blade down toward the floor. Again, if it's not reaching, grab a cushion or a little blanket. Take it underneath that right shoulder blade. So we're completely supported. We want to allow the body to feel deeply rested. And then either arm comes out to the side or up beside the head. The hand can rest on the floor. If that feels good, you can start to invite more breath into the back of the lungs. And then we can take the gaze over the right shoulder this time. Taking the stretch in the urinary bladder meridian lines, UB meridian line, on the opposite side of the spine. Again, you might want to support in between the knees if you're feeling a little bit like you can't relax in the groin. Just taking any props that you need on this side. We often think that the body should be exactly the same both sides, but often it isn't. That's how we use the body, our posture. What is our dominant side? Maybe which is our weaker side. So many variations in the body, so we always want to support as best we can with whatever we have. Hand. No wrong or right. Just whatever feels right. Whatever feels that your body needs. We always take that and follow that in Yin. Just here for another minute and a half. Again, breathing into the twist, inviting more life and energy into the kidneys as we inhale. Exhale, releasing anything that's not serving us, that's standing in our way of moving forward, of flowing with life. Releasing that with our exhales. Any sighs, yawns, always welcome. So as we awaken the chi to flow through this meridian line, we're sending our intention to awaken this meridian pathway. We're allowing any fear to dissipate in the body. We're bringing more balance and harmony into these organ pairs, into the system that flows through. We're inviting more life to wake up in this meridian line. And we're strengthening and balancing and harmonizing this flow of energy. And this could be in terms of physical changes you might see. You might see more balance in the mind or the emotions. But either way, we're allowing more flow to come back into the body. Our intention is to bring more energy, vitality into the body through the kidney. The kidney is our most vital organ for sustaining our life. So when we work with this really, really vital organ, we're helping to support every other system in the body, every other organ in the body, helping us to remove what is no longer serving us, remove what is not good for us, or what is standing in our way. And in turn, we invite more life, more vitality, more calmness, balance in all areas of our life and bodies. Nice, we're just taking our last couple of rounds of breath here. And again, then when you're ready, you can slowly start to take the gaze back to the center, rolling onto the back, moving any props out to the side, taking the knees back into the chest. And you can take those 3 whoosh breaths if that feels good. We inhale here, relaxing the chest, the shoulders. As we exhale, we squeeze the breath out, lift up. We inhale to come back down. Taking your own time, your own pace. Nice, feet can come flat to the mat, just making any adjustments. Might feel nice to take a few knee sways here, maybe might feel nice to just stretch the legs out. If you want to come straight into Shavasana, just grabbing any props that you might need, your blanket. You might want to bring a bolster behind the back of the knees to just support. Just taking anything that might help you. You might want to cover the eyes over with your eye pillow or your blanket. Just getting yourself nice and comfortable and coming down to the floor. Taking the last few moments of your practice to really come inward, to release, to let go of anything you need with your breath. Taking any sighs, yawns, before coming into a nice still space. I'm going to take you through a little reading of an extract that I was reading earlier today. It's from a teacher that I follow. And she works with really beautiful energies, healing energies, and she promotes God sovereign and free, and that's what we all are as individuals. We are our own God, we are sovereign and we are free. And I really felt like it would be a nice way to end the class with a bit of hope and positivity. So just take a moment to let yourself come into a space of receiving. Allow the words to just drift into your subconscious or into the back of your mind. You don't have to take in every word that I'm saying, just allow it to wash over you. So this is by Lisa Renee. The lightning strike of shocking changes is upon us as the global dark night of the soul, in which the lies, delusions and falsities of the controlled mainstream narrative that gave us a false sense of security will crumble away. This phase of spiritual growth can bring shocking inner and outer change and greater self-realization. It is a time of great personal turmoil when we go through the process of seeing blind spots and deceptions in many situations. When we see these lies and our blind spots, the places we were naive or just plain wrong, now what will you do with this new knowledge, and how will you manage the changes happening around us while facing the shocking truth? What is currently happening is a major lifestyle and cultural upheaval. Life as we have known it in the past is ending. For many, this is a major existential and spiritual crisis, bringing on normal reactions of grief, anger, sadness, confusion, sleepless nights, and even facing confrontations with others that may have been less than truthful. We are going to have an awful lot of very angry people when they find out how much they've been lied to and betrayed by those public figures they trusted. When we are undergoing a change in the foundation of our sense of security and identity, It penetrates to the deepest core of our being, reverberating shock waves that force us to get out of personal comfort zones and to emotionally and spiritually grow beyond the current level. Remember that the artificial facades, self-delusions, and barriers are going to fall whether you like it or not, because we have reached a collective limit in this area and we can no longer live with it. Crimes against humanity must be accounted for, and in order for humanity to heal, we must live to see true justice in our society and at a cosmic level. Although this phase of spiritual growth is very hard, we all have to undergo this process of discerning and seeing the truth. No one gets away from this critical piece of spiritual ascension. The mountain of ego, pain body, deceptions, facades, illusions, manipulations, and emotional bait hooks must be destroyed so that you are free to face truth and gain an accurate sense of reality without false attachments. There are some of us on the spiritual path that are holding space for others, loved ones around us that will be undergoing this intense process of lightning strike and shocking changes. Our loved ones, friends, and acquaintances may be bewildered and confused about what is occurring. They may begin to show signs of trauma, projecting assorted images. They may have faulty memory. They may be acting out of past life archetypes. They may feel threatened and terrorized with survival fears in the future. They are unable to deeply understand all that is happening because they are utterly overwhelmed with the intense energies forcing consciousness transformation, which surface deep emotional pain and grief. To hold a clear and unconditionally loving space for such intense forms of spiritual alchemy, it is important to hold complete observer towards the process. Even when it can be painful to watch people we care about endure such intense pain, confusion, and grief. In spiritual community, this is call for self-mastery in compassionate witnessing and never ever taking on another person's emotional process or disjointed perceptions when they're in the deep and heated battle of the inner Armageddon, while the ego construct is flailing about in its death throes. The most important relationships we have is with our higher power, God, and the inner relationship we have with ourselves. So when you're ready, you can just start to take a nice deep breath in, feeling expanding the belly, the lungs. Exhale, sigh the breath out. Letting go of anything that is no longer serving you, that is standing in your way, with love, with compassion, with faith, with hope. Just bringing your mind back to your intention, back to the beginning of the class. You can slowly start to wiggle your feet, your toes. You can take a stretch. Sigh, yawn, whatever your body needs to do to gently wake up, and then you can roll to your side. Take a moment to pause. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly make your way up to a seat. Bring hands into prayer. Just closing down the eyes, coming back inward, noticing how your body's feeling. Bowing your head down in reverence to each other for taking this communal space, holding space for each other and with each other. Offering gratitude to our bodies for all that they teach us, reveal to us, and allow us to become. Offering gratitude to the teachers, past, present, and future. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to practice. So nice to see you.